Okay, so guys, now we can start. Still, many of the people are missing, but we are not going to start with a new thing while other people are joining. We'll do the revision of what we have learned previously. So previously, our many of the sessions were got cut because you were having some other activities on every Saturday, and from next week onwards, we are also going to see the changes in our timetable. So our session may get shift to some other day instead of this Saturday. So we'll meet early instead of Saturday. Now let's discuss about what we have learned previously in a previous session. Let's do the revision. So previously our focus was on ethics for engineering profession. If you notice, if you remember, we took a basic poll where few questions were asked to you, and we also got your opinion. The questions were very easy, that what are the responsibility of engineers towards society or towards the profession. We got many of the answers as well. Then what is the ethical behavior. Then we also discuss regarding why ethics is important for the engineering profession. After that, we even discussed with the help of few examples in a previous session. Now, today's topic, we already started from a previous session, as we are a little bit behind, and we'll definitely complete before the end of semester. So our next module, let me take you towards that. We already started in our previous session, as 10 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes discussion was happened, but again we'll start from the starting, so that if somebody missed there, they can record. And in today's session, we are also going to have activity for all of you. In this activity, you can participate and you can just provide your opinion. So we'll also have activity in today's session. Let's go for the PPT. Yeah, the PPT is about to get visible to all of you. Yes, now it is visible. So this is our topic for the discussion, the code of ethics in engineering profession. So there are rules, regulations which are important. We do know that in certain profession they are having their own code of ethics too. So for the engineering, whether the code of ethics are important or not, what kind of code of ethics are important, which are particularly for engineering profession, that we'll also see. Which one is the governing organization, that we are also going to see. We'll also discuss about the code of conduct, the normal code of conduct, which is applicable for every employee of particular company. So we'll also see some of the real code of conduct report in today's session, so that you can get the idea that yeah, in this company these are the code of conduct, and if it is having any difference, like we are going to see the code of conduct report of two companies. So that's how we are going to see. Let's go for the flow for the discussion. So we'll start with the relationship between law and morality. Though in a previous session we discussed about some of the part of law and morality, but we'll again start from the initial, so that you can have a connection. Further, we'll discuss about the code of conduct. What is code of conduct? What are the things which are included in code of conduct? Then we'll also see the code of ethics in engineering. So these are the three main heads that we are going to see. Now, let's discuss about the law and morality. Previously, we discussed regarding law, that law refers to the system of rules and regulations created and enforced by administrative authority of the country, with the intention of regulating human behavior for the common good. So there are different authorities which are making rules and regulations. They are telling us that this is how you should have to behave. This is how you should not have to behave. So, what kind of action we can take, what kind of act we cannot do, that is specified under rules and regulation, and we are considering that as a law. This is done to have a proper human behavior in the society so that people can act in a particular way. If some of the people are not acting according to those rules and regulations, then even the punishments are followed if they are breaking some rules. These punishments are also very much important if we look at the angle of society. If punishment is not there, then we'll see the chaos in the society. Nobody is going to respect the law, and people will behave in their own way. So, this is the complete definition of law. Now, if we discuss about the morality, what is morality? So, morality is the human attempt to define what is right and wrong about our action and what is good and bad about our being who we are. Like we discussed previously as well, that morality is something that it is kind of our understanding, our own understanding, in which we are seeing some of the things as the correct one, as the right one. On the other side, we are also seeing some of the things as the wrong thing to do. And this morality uh, is also depends on person to person. It do differ from one person's opinion to another person's opinion as well. Some of the people do consider some of the act as the correct, and they are also acting in that way. But on the other hand, on the contrary, if you look at the other people, they may not have the same opinion. They may think as the wrong thing to do. So this is the morality. After that, we check the relationship between the law and morality. We discuss regarding the different points, how law and morality, whether they are having any similarity related to some of the point, or are they having any differences. So we discussed about all of them, but still let's again do it so that you can recall. We discussed regarding enforcement. So at that time, we discussed that by ruling bodies of a country, state or society, the enforcement of law is happening. Like you can very well take the recent example when lockdown was introduced by the central government. It was enforced by lots of people as well. Police were also there, and some rules and regulations were there. So uh, many of the governing bodies were also looking after their enforcement. Even right now, when the freedom is given to the state government, then state government on their own making the enforcement of those particular law. If we look at the morality, then in that case, there is no significant body. There is no particular organization which is working after the morality. Though uh, law is definitely inspired by morality, but law is not making sure that every moral aspect should have to be covered. And if the proper behavior is not observed according to morality, then there should have to be some kind of punishment or something. So there is no particular organization. Many times we are seeing that some of the people, the elder people, are fighting with their parents and they are throwing their parents out, and they are behaving inappropriately as well. Like a few months back, the incident happened in Rajkot city as itself, but uh, nobody can see one particular organization which is working after morality issue. Though law can help, but in many of the cases, law can even not help. Further, if we look at the constitution, then law creates the constitution of the country, but in case of morality, there is no direct connection with the constitution in the morality. Emergence. Before any kind of rules and regulations were there in the society, the morality aspect was already there. People were having idea, the sense that this is the particular wrong way, this is the correct way, and that's how morality was there before law, before any kind of formal government. So here the morality influenced the emergence of the law in the country or community as law was developed after morality. This we are having idea. So if we look at the morality, then we just discussed that morality was emerged before the ideal set of the law. If we look at the punishment aspect, then there are direct punishment for those who violates the law. If you are breaking some of the rules, then you will definitely get a fine or some other punishment too, like jail sentence. Some of the people, if their act is so much harmful, then they may even get the death penalty. So the direct punishment is there if somebody is violating the law, if they are breaking the law. But there are no such enforced direct punishment for those who do immoral acts. Many times we are also observing that people are doing politics for their own selfish benefit. They are misleading some of the people. That is definitely morally wrong. But in those cases, there is no direct punishment. Only you can take the particular action. Otherwise, there is no significant body which will lead for the direct punishment. And if we look at our child's age, then we are aware that parents were considered as the authority and they were giving the punishment. But afterwards, it was just for certain age. Afterwards, even now, the parents are, when you are becoming young and adult, then you will notice that there is no kind of punishment. So there is no such enforced direct punishment for those who do immoral acts. Now, let's see some of the interesting things regarding law and morality. Sometimes they can have a similarity, sometimes they can have differences as well. And based on that, we can identify 4 different situations. In some of these situations, the action can be illegal, but they are morally right. And some of the situations, the action that is legal can be morally wrong. On the other side, the action that is legal and morally right, that can be also possible in certain situations. In some of these situations, the action that is illegal as well as morally wrong too. So to give you more idea regarding this, we'll do one thing. I will show you some pictures, and based on that pictures, I will ask just 2 questions. Is it legal? And second question will be, is it moral, right or wrong? So you just need to reply with yes or no, and let's see your opinion as well. You can participate here with the help of chat box. Okay, so first picture is there on your screen. Let's start the activity. Here in this picture, it is about Fair and Lovely. We are aware that Fair and Lovely is there in Indian market from last many years, and they are also advertising very heavily to get the customers. And they are also claiming that if you are using our product, you will get a fair skin, a white skin, and this is what they are promoting. So if let me ask the first question. If you look at the law aspect, so is it legal to promote in this way? What's your opinion? Is it legal to promote? Is Fair and Lovely legally right or wrong? Now provide me your opinion here in the chat box. You can participate here in the activity. You just need to reply with yes or no. Yeah, Bharti replied with yes. Rishabh is also saying it is legal in 2020. Though it was not 2020 earlier, still Fair and Lovely was there. So what about other people? Do you think that it is legal here in India to promote product. We are seeing that Fair and Lovely is advertising their own advertisement in a electronic media. So if we look at the legal aspect, are they uh, doing this lawfully, legally? So definitely, Bharti, Rishabh, you are right. It is legal. If it was not legal, then they cannot advertise, and that's why they are advertising, and they are there in the market. Nowadays, you are seeing that they changed their name. I will also share the story behind it. Now, if we look at, is it morally right? So, what do you think? If you look at the moral aspect, so do you think that by promoting the product in this way is a morally right way? So, provide me your opinion. Rishabh, Bharti, Manav, they are all saying no. Even Mohammed is also saying no. So, all of you are very much right. If we look at the moral aspect, then it is completely wrong. Why? Because they are claiming, which is not 100% true. It is false claim. Uh, Those who are having a dark skin, they are not getting a white skin by using this Fair and Lovely cream, and many of the people even experience that. So if we look at the moral aspect, this is a false advertisement, false claim, and that's why morally it is wrong. And now let me tell you, right now, whenever you are going to see the advertisement about Fair and Lovely on TV, you will notice that they are now using, they drop fair word from their uh, product name, and now they are using Glow and Lovely. Yeah, Rishabh is saying that in a way they are promoting discrimination based on color. Yes, based on this, one person filed a case against Fair and Lovely that uh, Fair and Lovely, they are using this word. This is discrimination because according to this brand, only fair people are lovely. So this was the main claim, and afterwards, now you are seeing that the person already won, and fair word is dropped from their product, and now they are using low and lovely. So another funda to do their marketing. Now let's go for the another picture. Thank you guys for participating. Keep participating. We'll see the next picture as well. Next picture is this. Now let me tell you what is this thing. Let's say that in one organization there are lots of people who are there, and those people are there with the same company from last many years. So they have seen companies downside as well as the upside, the growth side as well. Now if we look at the certain situation like companies facing some financial trouble, so what they did was they took the decision to fire some of the people. So let me ask a question. Is it legal to fire anyone from the company? What do you think? From the legal aspect, the people were there with the same company from last many years. Now, as the company is facing financial trouble, yeah, Rishabh is saying that if downsizing, yes. Preet is saying yes too. Yeah, Preet is saying 100%. Manu is also saying yes. So if you look at the legal aspect, can company do it? Yeah, Bharti is also saying yes. So yes, company can do it, and they are doing it as well. You will definitely see that many of the people in the current time also, this is very difficult time. Many of the people are losing their jobs uh, as it is creating a big financial trouble for the company. It is becoming a big burden. So company, in order to survive, they are downsizing. They are firing many of the people as well. So they are, if we look at the legal aspect, then yes, legally they are right. Even you guys must not be aware about it, but you will definitely get to know in the future. Whenever you are going to join a company, they will make you to sign some of the papers. In that paper, some rules and regulation regarding that company will be written, that you have to behave in this particular way. You are liable to do and act in this particular way. And there will be one interesting uh, terms and condition will also be part of that particular document in which they will specify that whenever company finds any kind of misbehavior or without any intimation, they can definitely fire anyone. So legally, they are not wrong. They can fire anyone, and they are also making their uh, new recruiters to sign that. So this is legally right. But if we look at the moral aspect, so is it morally right by just firing some of the people? Yeah, Manav is saying no, sir. Even Rishabh is also saying no. Bharti is also saying not at all. Mohammed is also saying no. Preet is also saying no. So definitely, if we look at the moral aspect, then those people are there with the same company even at the time when company was trying to achieve some of the growth part. So they supported the company's growth, and that's why company is there, and they survive for a longer period of time. They can, if they are facing financial trouble, they can go for salary cut or some other measures like late salary or something. But taking out some of the people from the company and firing someone, those people are going to lose their job, and it will definitely impact their family as well. So no, that is morally wrong thing as well. Now let's see the other condition. Now let me tell you first, let me specify first, and that then we'll go for the question. So you are aware that India got independence in 1947 after so much hard work. So just imagine the previous time when India was under British rule. At that time, lots of satyagraha, lots of protests were happening against British government. So at that time, the people were even doing protest and doing satyagraha. Many of the freedom fighters were also there, and they even lose their life. So if we look at the legal aspect from that British government's point of view, was it legal to protest at that time? We are not talking about the current protest, the current time. This is about our freedom movement. So if you look at the legal aspect, was it right at that time to protest? So Preet is saying no. Yeah, Bharti is also saying at that time it wasn't. Even Manav is also saying no. Yeah, Rishabh is also saying illegal. So definitely all of you are right. At that time it was illegal to do it, and that's why Britishers were taking very harsh actions on those people who protest against them. How we can forget about Jallianwala Bagh? It was a very sad incident happened in Indian history. Uh, People were peacefully protesting there in Jallianwala Bagh, and it was not appropriate according to British government. They were breaking law, and that's why they even uh, started firing, and many of the people even lost their life. But if we look at the, is it morally right to protest? Is it morally right to raise your voice against some of the wrong thing? So were our freedom fighters wrong at that time? They were not wrong. If you look at the moral aspect, so yes, is it? This is morally right as well. Yeah, even Preet was saying most of all freedom fighters were sent to jail as well. Yes. Yeah, Preet is also saying yes, of course. Rishabh, Manav, Bharti, they all say that yes, it was. So if we look at the moral aspect, though this act was illegal, but morally this was the right act. Now let's look at the another picture as well. Imagine one situation where there is one small guy, one child, met with the accident, and that accident was so much terrible. Uh, for the treatment, for the medical expense, there was requirement of huge amount, and the father was not having that amount. So what father did was he was working in one of the company. He requested his boss, but boss refused. So he found the opportunity about stealing the money. So he stole the money from the company's asset, and he used that money for his son's treatment, and his son also got the well treatment and he survived as well. So if we look at the legal aspect here, Is it legal to steal the money? Yeah, Bharti is saying illegal. Rishabh, Manav, they are also saying no. Preet, Nikita, they all are saying no. So if we look at the legal aspect, it is illegal to steal, even though condition was like this. And similarly, on the other side, if we look at the moral aspect, so what do you think? Was it morally right to steal a money for son's medical expense as he was unable to afford and there was life and death situation? Yeah, Preet is saying morally and emotionally right. Yeah, Manav is also saying yes, it is morally right. Mohammed is also saying yes. So uh, this is the situation where we can say that if we look at the moral aspect, then it is morally right. Though the situation is illegal, stealing money is illegal, but it was done for the right cause. And that's why if you look at the moral aspect, then morally it is the right thing to do. Now let's go for the another situation. We'll discuss about the reservation. This is not about caste-based reservation. This reservation, we are going to talk about the economically backward people. Now you are aware that 1 year ago, our government passed this new reservation for economically backward people. Uh, these people, if they are of any caste, so these people, if they are facing any financial trouble, they can get this reservation benefit by providing certain condition. By if they are going through the certain condition, and if they are qualifying, then they can get the reservation for their child's education, for some other uh, area as well. So if we look at this 10% reservation, which was passed by the government just recently, so is it legal? So definitely, this is not so much difficult question. Yes, it is legal. Government can pass this act. And if we look at the moral aspect as well, so what do you think? Is it morally right to give a 10% reservation to economically backward people, even if they are from a general category? I hope you guys are also aware about it. This 10% reservation is also given to the people of general category as well if they are economically weak. So Preet is saying yes. What about other people? Yeah. Mohammed is also saying yes. Rishabh is saying based on economic condition, yes. Bharat is also saying yes. Manu is also saying yes. Yeah, Rishabh is saying on the basis of caste, no. Okay. So we are actually discussing about the economical condition. So by looking at that angle, it is morally right thing as well because now we are aware that even in the general category there are so many families which are not having a proper economically well condition. So for them it is very beneficial, and if we look at the moral aspect, then it is morally right as well. Now let's look at the controversial issue, that is vegetarian and non-vegetarian thing. But just think from the uh, general aspect. Is it legal to eat vegetarian and non-vegetarian food? So yeah, Rishabh replied with yes, it is legal. Bharti also replied legal. Yeah, Nikita is also saying yes, legal. Yeah, Pratik is also saying legal. Preet is saying legal. Manav is also saying legal. So definitely, government is not discriminating. Uh, if you are eating non-veg food, completely it is fine. There is no rule that you cannot eat non-vegetarian food. If you are completely vegetarian, it is also okay. Uh, Legal aspect, if we check, then it is completely legal. If we look at the moral aspect, just think from the general morality, that is it morally right? I already told you that this is controversial, so many of the people are going to reply with yes or no. There will be mixture. Rishabh is saying depends. Preet, Manav, Nikita, Patik, they are saying no. Yeah. So if we look at the general moral aspect, this people are also not wrong because they are having certain habits, and they develop this habit because of their family. So if you are having vegetarian habit, that's fine. If you are having non-vegetarian habit, that is also fine. So uh, this, if is it morally right? So this is morally right as well. We cannot tell anyone that you are doing something wrong. This is their own free wish, and that's why they can. The next one is very simple: the murder. So is it legal to murder anyone? Now tell me. And yeah, so yes, no. Bharat is also saying illegal. Yeah, Nikita, Vidhi, they all are saying no. Manav, lots of people. Mohammed, yeah. So if we look at the legal aspect, it is not legal to murder anyone. And on the other side, if we look at the moral right thing, so yeah, Rishabh is saying that in self-defense, it isn't considered murder. Yeah, we are aware that even in many of the Bollywood movie, it is specified that some people are out of self-defense murdered someone, so they were not wrong. Like you can take the example of Rustam movie. So there it is, though it was not self-defense. At the end, we got to know that, but uh, if we look at the moral aspect, then morally it is also wrong. If you are, if in the self defense, like even our law system is also specifying for the girls that if something inappropriate things happen with them, and out of self defense, if they are killing someone, they are not wrong. Even you can read some of the newses in some of the countries. Some one father murdered some guy who was there in their house and harassing his daughter. So he actually did a murder that was out of self-defense just to protect his own daughter. So that was considered as uh, legal as well. So legally as well, they are not there. So if we look at the general moral aspect, killing is definitely, it is immoral if there is something. Uh, if it is there is extreme condition out of self defense, you are doing it, that is morally right. But out of some hate, some kind of fear, some kind of other feelings, if you are doing it, then it is morally wrong as well. So no, it is morally wrong. Okay, let's go. Next one, very interesting one. We are going to see many mixed opinion as well. This is about cheating in exam. So let's see. Is it legal to do cheating in exam? What do you say, guys? Quickly, provide me your response, and then we'll see another question as well. Yeah, Preet is saying that पकड़े ना जाए तब तक legal. Yeah, Bharti is saying illegal. Manav is also saying no. Nikita is also saying no. Yeah, Mohammed is also saying no. So definitely, if we look at the legal aspect, it is definitely not the correct thing. It is not legal. You are aware that when you even pass through the 10th board and 12th board, you notice that there were policemen outside the classroom and they were continuously checking. So they were there to protect the legal rights. Yeah, Pathik is saying no, but everyone does it. Yeah. Now let's go for the moral aspect. Do you think that it is morally right to do cheating in the exam? Yeah, Preet is saying no. Bharat is also saying no. Rishabh is saying that it is morally right if both parties agree. Yeah, Manav is also saying no, and Vidhi is also saying no. So this is the situation where we can consider this situation as illegal as well as morally wrong. Because cheating in exam, yeah, Mohammed is saying it depends, sir. No, it don't depend. If we look at the general aspect, morally also it is wrong. It is not like I'm your faculty and that's why it is wrong. even though as a student I was considering that as a morally wrong thing, and majority of the people, if we look at the whole society, then this is the morally wrong thing. You guys are student, and that's why you may have opinion of considering that as a morally right. Okay, so we complete here this activity. Now let's go for the further aspect, the code of conduct. So what is code of conduct? So a code of conduct is a set of rules outlining the norms, rules, and responsibility, or a proper action, proper practice of individual party or an organization. So you will normally see that there are code of conduct for different companies. They are specifying certain rules and regulation how a person as an employee should have to behave, what kind of responsibility a person is having. So a code of conduct defines how a company's employees should act on a day-to-day basis. It reflects the organization's daily operations, core values, and overall company culture too. As a result, every code of conduct is a unique to the organization it represents as well. Now, what it includes? So it includes many things like rules about the use of company asset, how a person should have to use, then use of information, conflict of interest, and dealing with the external stakeholders and partners. We do see that there can have a conflict between colleagues, between the other stakeholders like employee and the customer, employee and the top management. So in those scenario, what a person can do, that will be specified here. The company's code of conduct also includes agenda that outlines necessary definition, disciplinary action standards, and additional resources that may benefit employees as well. Now, if we look at the learning code of conduct of few uh, companies, let me take you towards the one of the report of Infosys. This code of conduct, it differ from company to company, and that's why we are going to see the code of conduct report of company. Let me first take you towards there. Just a minute. So we'll see the Infosys code of conduct report, where they are specifying that what things one can do, what things one cannot do. So we'll see just overview of that report. Let me share my screen now. Yeah, so it is about to get visible. Now I think it is visible. Yeah, it's just a minute. It's taking a long time. Yeah, so here we are on code of conduct report. This is also readily available on their website, Infosys website. Even you can refer from their website as well. This code of conduct report, how it looks like, what it covers, we'll see everything. So they are first specifying the definition regarding code of conduct, what they are considering as the priority. Now, this is the message from CEO and MD. And if you look at this aspect, then they are focusing on the client value. These are the value set which they are giving more importance. So according to them, client value should have to be more important. Leadership by example, then integrity and transparency, fairness, excellence. This value also differ from company to company. This is very interesting. They are saying that the code is more than just words on a page. It's a way of life for the enforcers. So this is not just written rules everybody should have to follow. This is their clear message. Let me take you to some of the interesting things. They are also saying that speak up. If you believe that you have been discriminated against, harassed, or have been not given equal opportunities at a work, you are encouraged to submit a complaint to your manager, skip level manager, human resource. Then few email IDs were also given. So they are more concerned regarding the ethical part here. If some discrimination is happening, then they are not tolerating. They are even giving, they are even sharing their this to their employee that they should have to focus more on some of the things. Now let's see some of the interesting part. Uh, their code of conduct report is very unique. They are using some of the questions and there are some responses as well. Like you can see here, one of the company's vendor always send me a large gift basket of the fruit and chocolate during the holiday season. Can I accept this? So they are having a funny reply as well that as a holiday gift basket tends to be of limited value and you receive them infrequently. It is unlikely that you would feel obligated or influenced by them. If this is the case, you can continue to accept them. However, you are encouraged to share the gift basket with other employees in your department as well. So this is how they are specifying different situation in which an employee may face ethical dilemma. So they are clearing what kind of step they can take. So very interesting report. This is very interesting. It is saying that my spouse is starting a company. To fulfill regulatory requirements, I need to be appointed as a director on the company. I will also be a majority shareholders in the company, which is in the business of online food delivery. Is there a problem if I do this? So they are replying that from the fact it does not appear that your spouse startup is in the same business as Infosys. Remember that you may not use Infosys time, property, or other resources to help your spouse. Good luck. So they are very okay that if you want to do it, you can definitely do it, but make sure that uh, the company is not in the same industry. So this is how they are even clarifying many of the employees' doubts too. Okay, so let's go back to our PPT now. I also wanted to show you the Unilever's report, which is different, but looking at the time constraints, we'll skip that part. And we'll go for the other thing. This is just to give you example how code of conduct report looks like, and it do differ from company to company. Now, if we look at the code of ethics in engineering, so there are three main things. Uh, Rules of practice. This code of conduct is nothing but rules for practice. They are fundamental canon as well and professional obligation as well. So this rule of practice, it clarify and specify in detail the fundamental canon of the ethics in engineering, articulate the business the obligation that engineers have. We do know that engineers are having some responsibility towards the society. They are having certain obligation, professional obligation as well. So for them, some rules are very much important. And let's look at the codes as well. Why it is important? So we do know that the public will trust engineers more if they know engineers have a code of ethics. It helps them avoid legal problems such as getting sued. It provides a clear definition of what the public has a right to expect from responsible engineers. And last one, it raises the image of the profession and hence get the engineers more pay as well. We are aware that some reputed engineers do get a more pay as well. So what are the code of conduct which engineers should have to follow? So these are provided by NSP, National Society of Professional Engineers. So according to them, these are the few uh, code of conduct which the engineers should have to follow. Hold paramount the safety, health, and welfare of the public. That's the one. Second is perform services only in the area of their competency. We are aware that engineers are having lots of capabilities. Sometimes they are not having certain skills, but they are even using their luck. So just work in the area in which you are having great knowledge, your competency. The third is issue public statement only in an objective and truthful manner. Do not put a false statement. Next is the act for each employer or client as a faithful agents or the trustees. We are aware that you are going to work in the company, but your ultimate client will be general public as well. Then avoid yeah, we were there on certain thing. Avoid deceptive acts. And last one is conduct themselves honorably, responsibly, ethically, and lawfully so as to enhance the honor, reputation, and usefulness of the profession. So these are a particular code of conduct which all the engineers should have to follow, which were provided by NSP, National Society of Professional Engineering. ECI is also one of the big organization. ECI stands for Engineering Council of India, and they are having so many members. So this is apex body of engineering association in India. They started this in April 4, 2002, and it do cover so many different organizations as well. So their main focus is on quality and accountability of the engineers, and that's why they started this ECI. So they are having headquarter in New Delhi, India. Today there are 40 members, which includes 8 government departments and 32 Indian Engineering Profession Association as well. I'll just show you the list. You are not required to remember all those names, but you can get the familiar. So if you look at the list, this is first 20 member institute of ECI. You will be very much familiar with NITI Aayog, which is government one. Then All India Council for Technical Education, that is AICTE, and NPA, which is part of AICTE as well. Further, this is another 20 list. Okay. So here we are ending. I hope you learned so many things in today's session as well. We are going to meet on our next session. Now we are going for the attendance part. So what I'll do is I'll share the link with all of you. And you are aware that we are taking the attendance in Google form. So let's go for that. I'm about to share the link with all of you. In the meanwhile, if you are having any doubt query, you can definitely post your doubt query in the chat box. Okay, so guys, I just pasted the Google form link there in your chat box. This link will remain active for a few minutes only. So quickly mark the attendance. After you complete the attendance part, you are also free from my side. So you can definitely go for your next activity. Make sure that you mark the attendance here in the Google form. And yes, once you complete the attendance part, you may definitely leave this meeting too. Bharti, Darshan, Nidhi, Pranjul, Shivam, and Smith. I hope you have marked the attendance. If not, please do that right now. I will deactivate the Google form in few minutes.
Yes, sir, I'm submitting the form.
Okay, no problem.
So my internet is not working, sir. Can you take my attendance right here?
Yeah, no problem. Only
The
you.
AI 7.
Yeah, write down there in the chat box. and I'll mark.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, Darshan, done. Your attendance is taken. You can leave. Okay, so now I'm hoping that everybody marked their attendance. Now I'm.
Sir, AI 18.
No, you just entered here, so you cannot get the attendance, right?
Sir, actually, there was a power cut today, so my phone was discharged.
And you were there in the whole session? No, it was not,
No,
right?
sir, I attended almost 20-25 minutes of the starting lecture.
And then you left.
Yes, sir.
Is it just
Only 3% battery was left in my device, so sir.
write down your enrollment number there in the chat box now, quickly.
Yes, sir. Done, sir.
Yeah, great. You are free.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Welcome.